الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين. اللهم إنا نحمدك يا ربنا ونشكرك ونثني عليك الخير كله ولا نكفرك ونخلع ونترك من يفجرك، نرجو رحمتك ونخشى عذابك إن عذابك الجد بالكفار ملحق. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبد الله ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وحبيبه، بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الغمة وجاهد في الله حق الجهاد حتى أتاه اليقين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على الحبيب المصطفى محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن اهتدى بهديه وعمل بسنته إلى يوم الدين، وارض عنا معهم بفضلك وكرمك أرحم الراحمين. اللهم آمين. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Endless He is in His glory, the creator of heavens and earth, the bestower of bounties, the giver of gifts. I thank Allah for all the blessings that He has given me and my family. And I show my gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in words and action. I bear witness that there is no deity worthy of worship save Allah. And I bear witness that Muhammad is Allah's final prophet and messenger, the bearer of glad tidings, the role model to be followed, the torch of light that guides humanity. I thank Allah for sending us Muhammad. And I thank Allah for making us among the followers of Muhammad. And I ask Allah to make us among those who walk in the footsteps of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this life, and those who are resurrected on the day of judgment under His banner, and those who are admitted to Jannah in His company. Allahumma ameen. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send His blessings upon the Prophet, his family, his companions, followers, students, and every man or woman that walks steadily in the footsteps of the beloved sallallahu alayhi wa sallam until the day of judgment. And I ask Allah to make each and every one of us among them. Allahumma ameen. My dear brothers and sisters, I greet you the greeting of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It was a beautiful thing last Friday when I gave the khutbah in downtown, and we saw about 100 Muslims who work in the downtown area coming and attending Jum'ah. And I shared with them a very, very simple message. It was a message about how to be a balanced Muslim and a balanced human being, and how to be able to allocate your time and your resources and your money and your effort and your volunteer hours into the things that actually matter. Most of us get distracted with one thing. And for most of us, it is the making of money. That is where most of our efforts are being expended. How to make money, how to improve our financial status, how to move into a bigger house, how to own a nicer car, how to put the kids in a much better school, and so on and so, how to up the standard of living. That is the one thing that occupies our minds. And I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, and that's what I told them in downtown last Friday, we cannot afford to think like that any longer as a Muslim community. We don't have the luxury anymore to just focus on one thing and ignore our obligations in other matters. And the reason I say this is that for the first time ever in American history, ever, it became mainstream for presidential candidates to speak so freely about the internment of Muslims, about literally asking you and I to go into a police station somewhere and register with our names and get a card that says your name is this, your address is that, and you're going to get this number because you're Muslim. Presidential candidates are expressing to the nation what the Nazis expressed in their treatment of the Jews without any fear of consequence. 5 years ago, it would have been completely impossible for anyone to say something like this. But that has unfortunately become the reality. And that is what we are facing as a Muslim community. When you have presidential candidates that so freely talk about how they would never have a Muslim in their cabinets, or that they would never appoint a Muslim aide, or that they would support programs in which masajid are scrutinized, and as one of the recent presidential candidates said so explicitly, he would consider shutting down mosques. They would consider shutting down mosques right here in America, the land of the free, where people flee persecution and come here in order to practice their religion freely. That is what the leaders of this country, unfortunately, are talking about. And again, I understand that this information shocks us. And I understand that this information is disgusting to us. And I understand that this information is disheartening to us, if not, altogether disillusioning. But it is important to talk about it, because that is your future and my future. That is the future of our community. It's the future of our kids in this country. The anti-Muslim machine is spending hundreds of millions of dollars every year to defame you and I. And it is a relentless machine that has unlimited resources. And if you look at the resources that our Muslim community is spending in the counter war, almost next to nothing. You have one or two national organizations that are working at, fighting in that front, but the vast majority of our Muslim community is simply not there yet. It's almost like we live in another planet. If we don't do something about it now, this will come and hit you hard in your business, in your employment, in the schools of your children. You're going to be walking the streets fearful for your lives, I'm telling you. Because it is not the first time it happened in this country. This country witnessed such prejudice and such bigotry before. What you and I take for granted could very, very easily be taken away from us. Because freedom, brothers and sisters, is something that you have to continue to cling to. Freedom is not given. Freedom is taken. No one is going to pat your back and tell you, hey, my brother, enjoy your freedoms. That is not going to happen. You have to go out there and get it. The Japanese community stands as witness. The African American community stands as witness. The Jewish community stands as witness. The Catholics, the Irish, and everyone before them, they stand as witness that this country has a penchant for persecuting its minorities. Today it's the Muslims. It used to be the Latinos a couple of years ago, and the war is still on. And God knows who it's going to be in the future. But brothers and sisters, I swear to you, we have no luxury this time to let this happen. And I talked in the khutbah about the idea of balance. Okay? And I had to bring that up because it is so important and it's so relevant and it's so shocking that this is happening in our lifetime. We thought that it would not happen in our lifetime, but it's already happening. And I don't want to imagine this country, when my kids have grown and my kids graduated college, I refuse to imagine, how this country could potentially look like if we don't do something about it now. Now, I talk about balance, right? Here's the thing. We have this tubular vision sometimes as a Muslim community. We just find ourselves a little niche and we focus on it, okay? It could be people in our community that are focused on business, and people in our community that are so consumed with the praying and ibadah and acts of worship and the masjid, okay? And then there is a third group that is, so focused on perhaps making da'wah. You see that the world is crumbling, falling apart, and you have the Tablighi brothers still doing their thing unchanged, going masjid to masjid in order to invite Muslims who already pray, invite them to come to the masjid and pray. Complete waste of time and resources, in my judgment. The world is falling apart, and we're still doing the same exact things unchanged, right? We have a tendency to do that. Find a little corner that makes us comfortable and start working with that little corner right there. And polish it and make it look nicer, and the world is falling apart, it doesn't really matter. And then you also have a small percentage of our community that are so focused on activism. They are fighting a good fight. They speak to the media. They negotiate with law enforcement. They muscle their way through the political process, but they are not as educated and grounded in the Islamic sciences. So they are not being the best representation of our community either. You tell them, guys, you need to come to the masjid, get involved, bring Islam to your heart. Well, I'm an activist. That's what I do. I don't even have time to pray. I defend the Muslim community so much that I don't have time to pray. I hear that often. So we find our little niches and we just focus on that, and that is not something we can afford to do any longer as a Muslim community. It's a battle of survival at this point. I swear to you, it is gradually becoming a battle of survival for our community. And if we don't have the awareness, and if we don't have the consciousness, and if we don't have the willingness to fight the good fight, your children and my children may not have what you and I have today. God knows what could have happened. America in the 1950s and the 1940s was a democracy, by the way. It was a democracy. When they put hundreds of thousands of Japanese in camps in Nevada and California deserts, it was a democracy back then. It was not an authoritarian country, it was a democracy. And that was an executive order by the president back then. And because of the state of fear, every Japanese in this country was a potential target. How do we know their loyalties? Because Japan is at war with the United States. How do we know where Japanese Americans side with? And they rounded them up, and they put them in concentration camps, for a couple of years. And those people experienced horrors. And you and I cannot imagine that this would happen to us, right? We can't imagine that. But if the conservatives and if the religious right in this country continues to insinuate and continues to sow the seeds of fear in the hearts of people in this nation, it will gradually become acceptable. And when people get so scared, they will compromise their rights. But then, I am not intending to talk to you about politics today. I am talking to you about the survival of our community. I am talking to you about tomorrow, about the future. We are so ambitious. We want to build the masajid and establish in the schools. We want our kids to cling to their identity. But that is not going to happen in a hostile environment. It's not going to happen when all we want is to just maintain our bare survival. You will not be able to grow as a community if all our concern is on bare minimum survival. That is not going to happen. And that is why we need to create those lines of defense, so that we are not just sitting there and then the hit comes to us when we are least expecting. The khutbah today, as it was last week, is about how to strike that balance. Okay? And I give you examples earlier, and I said that the Prophet ﷺ taught us that salah, for example, is the most important thing. As-salatu imaduddin. It is the pillar of Islam. Right? And then he used to say, وَجُعِلَتْ قُرَّةُ عَيْنِ فِي الصَّلَاةِ. The satisfaction of my heart is in salah. Okay, so we need to pray, we need to take care of our acts of worship, and we need to make sure that our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is at its best. In the other hadith, he also says, خَيْرُكُمْ خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِهِ. The best of you is that who is best to his family or her family. Okay? So I need to also spend time with my family and take care of my spouse and take care of my kids and take care of my cousins and visit and maintain kinship, the ties of kinship. Okay? And then the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that da'wah, bringing someone to Islam, is better for you than everything on the face of this earth. لِأَنْ يَهْدِيَ اللَّهُ بِكَ رَجُلًا وَاحِدًا خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِمَّا طَلَعَتْ عَلَيْهِ الشَّمْسُ, in the hadith. So I need to be involved in matters of da'wah and talking to people about Islam and bringing them to the deen and get involved in programs. And we have organizations that are doing this. Why Islam and others? Okay? Well, my daily calendar now is being stretched thin, focusing on all these things. And then the Prophet also talks about work and earning your living. Right? He's talking about how to earn your living. Alayhi salatu wasalam. He speaks of Dawood alayhi salam, the Prophet. And he says that Dawood alayhi salam used to earn his living from the hard work of his own hands. And he used to say in the hadith, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, if you take your rope and go and collect some wood and carry that wood on your back and go sell it in the marketplace and make a little money, would be better for you than asking people for money. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So I need to earn my living. There's nothing wrong with making money and getting a little bit wealthy. There's nothing wrong with that. But how to strike the balance between all these things? If all of them are required of us, and of course you have maybe 10 other things that I didn't cite because the list is long. How do we strike the balance between all of this stuff? The Prophet ﷺ taught us in the simple hadith that you need to distribute your time among all of these things so that you benefit from everything that each category has to offer. احرص على ما ينفعك. Be keen about the things that will further your interests. The things that will bring benefit to you. Okay, so salah brings benefit to you. And making da'wah brings benefits to you. And investing time at work and in your business brings benefit to you. Time with family brings benefit to you. However, if I spend most of my time praying, what is going to happen to the other things? They will be compromised. And if I spend more time with my family, well, I will probably lose my job. Because I need to spend time at my business and take care of my stuff to be able to feed my family. And if I spend more time in the business, then I'm spending less time with my friends and I have no social life. And if I spend more time, to further my social life, then I have little time to make da'wah. And if I spend more time to make da'wah, then I have less time to do this. And I have spend more time doing this, then I have less time to do that. SubhanAllah. And that is the story of human life. You're always torn between responsibilities. So what is the only way out of this, brothers and sisters, is to be balanced. You need to understand the monumental challenges that our community is facing at this juncture of our history. The monumental challenges that our community is facing. And those challenges we are not going to be able to face as a community unless we are balanced. The religious right is spending hundreds of millions of dollars every year to attack you and I. All the TV anchors and the self-appointed media pundits whose careers are built entirely on the notion that you're bad and your religion is bad. And by the way, I don't think that in their hearts they actually believe that, but they're like mercenaries. They are for the highest bidders. If we go to Rush Limbaugh and pay him more, he will start defending Islam. I'm telling you. It is about money in this country, and I know it sounds like a cliche, but it is. In America, at the end of the day, it's about who's paying and who's receiving the payment. And if you think that you'll be able to change that reality by being nice, by reaching out, by only doing some public relations alone, I'm telling you, it is not going to work. Because people will not let you take the food on their tables. They will not let you take it. So how to react, brothers and sisters, is by spending money. And that is why politicians, when they run for office, what determines who wins elections in this country? How popular they are, how well educated they are, their good personalities, their morals and their standards, their education. What determines who wins and who loses in politics in this country? It's how much money they're able to raise. And that is why if there's a candidate that you support, you have to translate that support in what? In donations, brothers and sisters. It doesn't happen easy in this country. You need to look at your accounts and see how much, and again, sorry for being so explicit and blunt about this. You need to go into your accounts and measure how much of your income are you donating to the institutions that defend you and defend the future of your families. Yes, we give to the masjid. Yes, the boxes pass around and we put $20. Sure. But how much of your income are you giving to your local organizations? How much of your income is being given to CARE? Is being given to some of the organizations that are defending us? That's the challenge. It just doesn't happen on its own. And I'm inviting you, inshallah ta'ala, to recalibrate a little bit. Try to reorganize the priorities. You have 10 things that you need to take care of as a Muslim. You have to give enough time and enough resources and enough volunteer hours and enough money to each and every one of these ventures. Period. If all of you do in your life is work and spend time with family and come to Salatul Jum'ah and then you put $20 in the box, I am telling you, we are headed towards a disaster as a community. If that's all you do. If all you do is just go to work, spend time with family, and then focus on the children and do homework with them and spend a little time with friends and then go pray Isha at the masjid, I am telling you, we're headed towards a disaster. If all you do is just activism and you're ignoring your religious obligations, I am telling you, you're still headed towards a disaster. The only way to manage as a community is for us to have a little bit of balance. Balance in how we spend our money, how we spend our time, how we spend our resources, and how we spend our attention. How we spend our attention. And I've been talking about this for years. But right now is a very, very critical time for us as a Muslim community. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to preserve you and to preserve your families and to protect you from unforeseeable circumstances. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to strengthen our hearts and to establish our community on the foundations of righteousness. I ask Allah to give us balance so we're able to deal with all the challenges and all the responsibilities that we have. Brothers and sisters, raise your hands. Speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the heart. ادعوا الله وأنتم موقنون بالإجابة. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعين به ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأصلي وأسلم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين وقائد الغر الميامين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم في الأولين وفي الآخرين وفي الملأ الأعلى إلى يوم الدين. اللهم ارض عن الصحابة الأخيار وآل البيت الأطهار ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وارض عنا معهم بفضلك وكرمك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم آمين. My dear brothers and sisters, I talked to you today about this very important Islamic principle, how to be balanced and how to distribute your resources, whether they're financial or temporal, on the things that really matter. And I wanted, inshallah, to conclude the khutbah by giving you a beautiful example that I shared last Friday. And I told you the story before in Ramadan, but I wanted to share with you at least one small aspect of it. Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu and Ali ibn Abi Talib, it was about 10 years after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away, and both of them, it was during Hajj season, and they go to where the Hajjis are, they go to their tents, and they go door to door, tent to tent, searching for one man. And they have a very particular description of that man. And they know that this man is going to be in the delegation of Yemen. So they go to the leader of the delegation of Yemen and they asked him, do you know of a man with this criteria? And basically the criteria is simple. He is skinny, he's tall, he's dark-skinned, his hair is on the blondish side, he has broad shoulders, and he used to have a skin disease, so a little bit of white spots still residual on his skin. So he said, well, Commander of the Faithful, the only man that fits that description is probably not someone you would like to talk to. He's a very simple guy that herds our sheep. So the answer is no, I don't know anyone like that. So Umar asked him, well, just tell me where he is and let me be the judge. Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, listen, I swear he's not the kind of guy you want to talk to. So he says, just tell me where he is and let me decide for myself. So he told him, well, he is that guy over there under that tree. And so Umar and Ali, radiallahu anhuma, they go and they speak to this man. And they asked him, are you from Yemen? He says, yes. Are you from the tribe of Qaran? He says, yes. And did you have a skin disease before? And you basically, he says, how could you possibly know that? Who are you? He did not know Umar and Ali. So he asked him, no, tell me what your name is. So he told him, my name is Abdullah. He says, well, every single one of us is Abdullah. I want your real name. So he asked him, what is your real name? He says, my name is Uwais. Uwais from Qaran? He says, yes, I am Uwais from Qaran. Umar and Ali immediately broke to tears. Both of them immediately broke to tears. And Uwais told them, why are you crying? Who are you guys? So Ali ibn Abi Talib volunteered and told him, I am Ali ibn Abi Talib, the Prophet's cousin, and this is Amirul Mu'mineen Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu. جزاكم الله عنا وعن أمة الإسلام خيرا. He started making dua, may Allah bless you for all the things that you've done to our ummah, both of you. But why are you here and why are you crying? And they told him, well, we are crying because we've been looking for you for 10 years. Ever since the Prophet passed away, he told us that we need to come in Hajj season and look for a man with your qualities, and we finally found you. So he asked him, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam spoke about me and he mentioned me by name. How does he even know me? He said, yes, he mentioned you by name. And then they told him the story that we were once sitting with the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam one day. And he said to us that amongst the people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves so much is a category of people, as he describes, al-atqiya, al-anqiya, al-asfiya, al-akhfiya. 4 qualities. They are pure-hearted, they are unknowns, nobody knows them, they are extremely pious and kind and righteous. 4 qualities about those people. And then the Prophet ﷺ continued to describe them. Al-musha'athatu ru'usuhum, al-mughabbaratu wujuhuhum, al-mukhammasatu butunuhum. Their hair is not tidy and their faces are not clean because they don't have access to clean water to wash all the time, and because they don't eat that much, their stomachs are always sucked in. الذين إذا استأذنوا على الأمراء لم يؤذن لهم وإذا استنكحوا المنعمات لم ينكحوا. If they ask to come into the presence of powerful people, their requests are denied. And when they try to propose to marry a daughter of wealthy families, their proposals are turned down. الذين إذا غابوا لم يفتقدوا وإذا حضروا لم يعرفوا وإذا مرضوا لم يعادوا وإذا ماتوا لم يشهدوا. If they are present, they are not known. And when they are absent, they are not missed. When they get sick, no one visits them. And when they die, no one walks in their funerals. SubhanAllah. So the companions were shocked at the description. And you and I be like, who is that? What kind of person is that? And Allah loves this person? That's just so strange. So the companions themselves said to the Prophet ﷺ, Ya Rasulullah, أَنَّا لَنَا بِرَجُلٍ مِثْلَ هَذَا. The generation of the Sahaba does not have a man with these qualities. They told the Prophet ﷺ, we don't have anyone like this, Messenger of Allah. There's no one amongst us that is like this. And the Prophet said, you're right. He doesn't belong to your generation. وَإِنَّمَا هَذَا أُوَيْسٌ الْقَرَنِيِّ يأتي عليكم في مداد أهل اليمن رجل أشهل شديد الصهوبة. He is very skinny and he has blonde hair. عريض بين المنكبين كان به برص فبرئ منه وكان بارا بأمه. He had this skin condition and Allah healed him, and he was kind and loving to his mother. يا عمر ويا علي إذا أنتم لقيتموه فاسألوا الله عز وجل أن يستغفر لكم. If you meet Uwais, Umar and Ali, both of you, if you meet him, when he comes to Hajj one of those years, ask him to make istighfar for you, to ask Allah to forgive you. So of course Umar and Ali are telling the story to Uwais while they were in tears. Now, Ya Uwais, please make istighfar for us. Ask Allah to forgive us. Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, I am just a simple guy. Pray for you and the Prophet's cousin. That doesn't make any sense. Please, just do it. Because the Prophet ﷺ says that your dua will be answered. Allahumma اغفر لهما Allahumma arhamhuma Allahumma arfa' maqamahuma Allahumma barik fihima wa fi naslihima. He kept making dua for Umar and Ali ibn Abi Talib. And then after he was done with his dua, Umar ibn Khattab, the Khalifa, offered him, do you need any money? Do you need any clothes? Commander of the faithful, I have everything I need right here with me. I'm wearing one suit and the other is being washed. That's all I need from this world. I get my milk from the goats and I'm happy. I'm happy with who I am. And Umar ibn Khattab had a staff. And he strikes the earth with the staff 3 times. And he gazes off to the horizons and he says, ألا يا ليت عمر لم تلد عمر. I pray that the mother of Umar never gave birth to Umar. Because how can I be like that man? The Prophet himself ﷺ says, you don't have anyone like this in your generation. You don't have anyone like Uwais. See, the Sahaba like you and I were right here on this extreme, focused on their things, in their little boxes. Some of them are doing the jihad and the fighting, and some of them are doing the trade, and some of them are making the ibadah, and some of them are becoming the scholars, right? And some of them were just average people who were just doing their thing and whatever. And the other extreme, brothers and sisters, was people like Uwais al-Qarni. That was the other extreme. People whose hearts are not attached to dunya anymore. They don't care about the things that you and I care about. They live in a different world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made them among the select few, the cream of the crop, the special group that immediately earns the love of the Creator subhanahu wa ta'ala. But that's the beauty. See, that's the psychology of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He saw the generation of the companions distracted and their pendulum swung to one extreme. In order to bring them to a point of balance, what does he do? Alayhi salatu wasalam. He showed them the exact opposite example. He tells them, listen to me. There are other people who are loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that are all the way to the other extreme. And then when you hear that, your pendulum might actually come to a point of equilibrium. You and I will never become like Uwais al-Qarni. But we might become an approximation of that character. So instead of being either at the masjid and doing ibadah and completely compromising our responsibilities, or focus so much on making money, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you and I to be where? Balanced. To maintain a sense of equilibrium. And Uwais did that, and let me end with that. There's a reason why we are still talking about him 1,400 years later. Without that one thing that he did, he would have not been known to us. You know what it is? Uwais accepted Islam during the life of the Prophet ﷺ, which had he saw the Prophet eye to eye, he would have been considered what? Sahabi. Just like all the other people who accepted Islam when it was time for hijrah, he considered coming to Medina, all the way from Yemen. And he said to himself, I need to go and join the Prophet ﷺ and see him and live with him and learn Islam with him. But I have a little problem. My mother is still alive. And she needs me. And I take care of her. And I cannot just leave her alone and go, even if my destination is the Prophet ﷺ himself. So what does he do? He decided that he will accept Islam and be the best man he could ever be, and follow in the footsteps of the Prophet ﷺ without seeing him, and stay in Yemen and take care of his mother. What do we call that? We call it balance. Family and social responsibilities, religious and divine responsibilities. Right? Little time here, little time there. Little effort here, little effort there. You have to be a balanced human being. And it is precisely because he made that decision that he became such an honorable person in the sight of the Prophet ﷺ. كانت له أم فكان بارا بها is the last thing he said in the hadith. He had a mother, and he was so kind to his mother. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect our community, to protect our hearts, to preserve our identity. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to preserve our children. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to strengthen our hearts so we're able to fight this battle with compassion, with wisdom and love. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us get involved and to help us work hard to change our reality to the better. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us build alliances with good people that would fight for justice. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us balanced human beings and to give us equilibrium in our lives. I ask Allah Azza wa Jalla on this day to protect our leaders, to protect our institutions, to protect our masajid, our organizations, our role models, to protect the families of our Muslim community, to protect the children of our Muslim community, to protect the men and women of our Muslim community. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to establish our community as one of righteousness, as one of equality, as one of piety. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make each and every one of us a role model to be followed. I ask Allah, as He gathered us here in this shape and form as brothers and sisters, that He will gather all of us in His Jannah on the Day of Judgment. Allahumma ameen. اللهم لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. تقبل منا يا ربنا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم يا ربنا أعنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. اللهم أعنا يا ربنا على درء الفتنة يا أرحم الراحمين، وعلى دفع الظلم بالخير والحكمة. اللهم يا ربنا اجمعنا على قلب أتقى واحد فينا. اللهم أعطنا الصبر يا رب العالمين. اللهم صبرنا على الظلم يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أعنا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين على الدعوة إلى دينك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة. اللهم افتح قلوب الناس وعقولهم لنا. اللهم أعنا على رفع راية للدين خفاقة يا رب العالمين، واجمع حولها القلوب والعقول. اللهم بارك لنا في مساجدنا، وبارك لنا في مؤسساتنا، واحفظ لنا بيوتنا، واحفظ لنا أهلينا. اللهم بارك في أولادنا واحفظهم لنا برحمتك أرحم الراحمين. اللهم ردهم إلى دينك ردا جميلا، واملأ قلوبهم بحبك وحب نبيك صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم كما جمعتنا هكذا على هذه الهيئة وبهذه الصورة، اجمعنا يا ربنا في مستقر رحمتك يوم القيامة. اللهم اغفر المؤمنين والمؤمنات، المسلمين والمسلمات، الأحياء منهم والأموات، إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات يا رب العالمين. وأقم الصلاة، إن الصلاة كانت على المؤمنين كتابا موقوتا.